Thank you. Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the City of North Miami Beach's City Council meeting of Tuesday, September 20th, 2016. Madam Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Councilman DeFilippo.
Present.
Councilwoman Kramer. Here. Councilwoman Martell.
Present.
Vice Mayor Pierre. Councilwoman Smith.
Present.
Councilwoman Spiegel. Mayor Valle.
I'm here.
We have quorum.
Thank you very much. Okay, if everyone would please rise for a moment for our invocation and then our Pledge of Allegiance. Our invocation this evening will be given by our City Clerk, Ms. Lattimore.
Let us bow our heads. Dear God, we are grateful for the opportunity to assemble here tonight as we discuss the affairs of this great city of North Miami Beach. May these discussions provide answers to that we seek, direction in the course of action that we should take. We thank you for our elected officials who you've placed in authority and for the staff and citizens who work alongside with them. Bless them with the tools needed to accomplish the work already in progress and the work which is yet to come. As we look forward to the city's 90th celebration, let us work together in harmony to promote progress for the growth and development of our beloved city. Help us to become better people, a better place, providing better protection for those who live, work, and visit in the city of North Miami Beach. Let us always remember our men and women in law enforcement as they place themselves in harm's way to protect others. May all that is said and done here tonight be with respect, integrity, service, and excellence. And in the midst of it all, we pray for peace. Amen.
Thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk, do we have any requests for changes to the agenda tonight?
Mr. Mayor, we just like to add at your individual seats, you have a printout from me, addition of language to the minutes from that Councilwoman Spiegel wanted to add to the minutes.
Okay, so that'll be dealt with when do we need to take it separately or?
No, well, when you get to consent agenda, it was to keep from pulling. She was going to pull it from consent if we don't add them.
Okay.
So, well, it would have to be pulled if we don't add it. If we do add it, then it can just go.
Okay, so we're good with this. We can just proceed. Okay, perfect. Okay, before we move to our presentations, I just want to take a second to clarify something on the record, because at our last workshop, one of the council asked some questions about whether council had been notified of the meeting, and since the question was asked publicly, I'd like to make sure that we clear the air publicly, because that meeting was, the council was notified via email on August 19th. They were notified via calendar invitation on September 6th, and then they were also, certain council persons were called to make sure they were going to be here that evening. So there was ample notice, but I wanted to make sure that we cleared the air on that in case there was anybody thought that the staff had done something wrong that would be inaccurate. So just wanted to clear that up. Okay, Madam Manager.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
if I could have a moment of personal privilege, please.
A personal privilege, what is it about?
About the other night, I'd like to have a moment of personal privilege.
Okay, let's deal with it in a little bit later, because we
Okay.
need to just let me get through this stuff here.
And if, on note of what you just said, please make note that I was out of town.
Okay. Madam Manager?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council, city staff, and special guests that are here today. Before we start our presentations, I want to remind everybody of our 90th birthday bash that's coming to town October the 1st. It's going to be a night of celebration, great food, great entertainment, and you will also be receiving in the mail our 90th anniversary special edition. It's an outstanding magazine that really focuses on our history, our past, our present, but even more exciting, where we're going in our future. So just mark your calendar for October 1st, and it's going to be a tremendous evening. Prior to our presentations, I wanted to bring forward the support that we've had on these two particular upcoming presentations. A couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to sit with Councilman Franz Pierre and really come up with a really cool initiative, which is now the third year that we're doing our Future Leaders in Youth, and some of them are here today. So I thank you, Councilman Pierre, for working with us and us working with Parks and Recreation to be able to make this initiative happen. And I may be dating myself, but back in the 80s when I was in the city of Miami Beach, I was exposed to a great program called the Police Athletic League. And I always said if I was able to move in my career and be the director of Parks and Recreation, I would bring the Police Athletic League. And I did. In 1997, I partnered with then Chief Coates Watson, and the rest was history. So we're very, very excited because our chief, Chief Hernandez, working with our deputy chief and a tremendous group of individuals, we've been able to bring the Police Athletic League. These are those initiatives that are preventive and proactive, and we're going to honor some of the PAL achievements. So with that said, I want to turn it over to Chief Hernandez. Thank you.
Welcome, Chief.
Welcome. Good evening, everyone. Well, first and foremost, I want to talk about a couple things that you've actually allowed us to do over the summer months and within this last year about the PAL program. And historically, our city has a rise of crimes during the summer months. And I came before you back in May to ask for money for June, July, and August to put together an initiative. And you so kindly gave us that money. And I just want to report back to you basically what we did and how and what success we had. So really quickly, I just want to let you know that Major Richard Rant put together an operational plan over the summer months, the 10 weeks that the kids were out of school. We had detectives out there undercover. We had uniform out there. We had our PAL program. We had our community policing units out there. Overall, we were able to decrease armed robberies by 8% over the same 10 weeks this year than we did last year. And we had a great last year, by the way. We were also able to decrease our residential burglaries by 17%. Auto thefts decreased by 18%. Well, during that time, we made 42 arrests. 18 were felonies. We seized over $30,000 in cash. We did 146 traffic stops. We recovered 5 stolen cars. We made over 160 community contacts, and we distributed over 400 crime flyers to the community. And while doing that, we did 12 probation sweeps. So the $60,000 that you allowed us, that was a success that we had. So again, I want to thank you very much for that. And in addition to that, we did a couple extra details. We put together the Jewish holiday, which we added extra officers during that time. We did the 7-on-7, which was a PAL program that occurred at Mishkan Park. We did the special detail at the monastery, which we know, that we apprehended that individual. We also apprehended the escaped murder subject from Broward in the city of North Miami, that we worked on that as well. And I want to let you know, during that time period, we had no traffic homicides, we had no pedestrian homicides, and as of till just recent, we had no homicides in the city. So that project went, I'd say, more than incredible. It was just phenomenal, the work that those officers did. So I want to thank you on that. Another thing that we did was that I came to you last year and I asked for some money for the PAL program. And you, again, generously gave me $25,000 for that PAL program. And I had the luck to be able to find Linda Roberts out there, and she came on board, and she helped us put together a PAL program that is incredible today. In the short period that we've been together, we have over 400 kids in that program. It's tremendous, the amount of work that our Community Affairs Bureau is doing, especially Linda Roberts and the PAL program. So I want to say thank you, Linda, personally. I want to let you know that during this year, we did a PAL open house. We had flag football, cheerleading programs, YDC programs, track and field, dance. We had also youth that was able to attend cheer tumbling camp and participating in shopping sprees. Throughout these programs, which included traveling, special events, and community projects, partners with NMB PAL program, they provided in-kind services such as the Urban League of Greater Miami, Embrace the Curl Power, Region 1 community projects, the Duke Johnson Foundation, Levanta, David Foundation, Walmart, Home Depot, GFS, Jason Taylor Foundation and Camp Katina. So not only with the $25,000 that you were able to help us with, because of this young lady back there and her crew, we were able to generate a total of $41,000 that was created for PAL. So we're constantly moving around, constantly trying to do the right things, constantly coming up with creative ideas to make sure that our juveniles, that our kids are protected, and any gaps that we might have with those kids that sometimes fall within the cracks. They have that age that sometimes it's not too cool to be a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout anymore, and they're waiting for the high school programs to kick in. That's what the PAL is all about. That's what we're there for, to help out. But I want to talk a little bit, if the manager, you don't mind, bring up Linda a little bit and talk about...
You read my mind, actually.
Okay.
Because we've been talking about her and we've kept her back there, so if we can bring her forward, that would
I
be
know
great.
you guys know Linda, but I want to bring Linda up for a moment, please. I want Linda to be able to explain to you what she was able to do and how she came about this project. And these young children, young men and women, obviously, she was able to get them into this program. They went down there and they actually won the program out of nowhere. So let her explain this to you a little bit better without introducing you, Linda Roberts.
Good evening. How are you? I just want to say thank you, City Manager, for pushing for this program and speaking with the chief and the council in order to make this happen for the children of North Miami Beach. The program that he's speaking of, we have our YDC, which is the Youth Directors Council. We had 3 young men to participate in the National Urban League of Greater Miami Hackathon, and which the Urban League provided as we partner with them. They provided the funds for these children to go to Baltimore and participate in this hackathon. They had no idea, because we did it within a week's time to get the kids, to make them study, to make sure that they were doing what they were supposed to be doing. And they said, I don't know, we're going to give our best, but we don't think that we're going to win. Well, they went up there and they participated and they won first place. So these are the kids that we're working on to make sure that North Miami Beach is out in the limelight, to make sure that these kids are getting everything possible that they need with the support and of the department, with the support of the council. We can't do it without partnerships. We can't do it without you all. So it's very necessary that we touch the lives of these children, even if we just get one at a time. It's a big difference in the things that they do today. So I graciously thank you all for giving us the opportunity to do that.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you.
If I may, through the chair,
Yes.
what's a hackathon?
Hackathon is where what we're doing now, where kids are going into the computers and looking at different information of other people and everything like that, and what can stop, how far can children get into these computers, and what they know about the computers that we don't know about, and how they can do that. So they had a competition with robotics to see how they can stop this process, and they went up there and put their minds together, and they won first place.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all. I just wanted to go ahead and express our gratitude for allowing us that opportunity, for allowing us to use that LATF money. You can see it's really going to great causes. So
Excellent. Thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and to those watching at home. As you know, waste management began recycling in our city back on December 1st, 2015. And recycling is done every Wednesday. There are 5 routes, and there are 1,500 homes approximately on each route that are collected in 64-gallon cans. Just giving you the history and the background. During January to April of this year, they conducted an audit with regard to different areas and recycling practices in those areas within our city. And we found out that our contamination rate in recycling was an astronomical 44.2%. That is unheard of. we're as high as 46%.
Bless you.
The standard is that it should never go above 10 because then it doesn't make sense. So what Waste Management will be doing beginning in early October 6th, I think it's a date, is that they'll be starting a campaign that's called Recycle Often, which is what we propose, but recycle right. So they'll be sending out a flyer to every single home in North Miami Beach. This flyer will look something like this, and it will be saying what should be recycled and what should not be recycled. They'll be doing an audit for about 12 to 15 weeks in these areas where we're seeing a high concentration of contamination, and then helping those homeowners to do better in terms of recycling by leaving things on their bins and coaching them through the process. It's a very, very good program, and we're excited to be the ones who are at the forefront of this with Waste Management to make sure that recycling is done often but right.
And if I may add, because you did talk about this flyer that's going to go out to our entire city, and it is going out in English, Spanish,
And Creole.
because we really want to do a full court press in regards to recycling often, but recycling right.
Yes. If I may add something as well, managers, that they'll also be involved in the elementary school beginning of 4th grade to get this material out there and to get them engaged as well. We'll be going on NMB TV with that. We'll be coming out with this, next edition of a newsletter, and there'll also be a news release. So for those of you at home, if you need more information on this, it is Recycle Often, recycleright.com.
And while I have you up here, it just came to my mind, I think that this could be a good partnership with Parks and Recreation and Public Works, and also to get this information out to Linda and PAL. I think that we could really get our young people to really lead the way with recycling. A lot of times the young people are educating their parents in regards to this.
Absolutely. Thank you.
If
Sorry.
I may,
Sure.
Manager, through the chair,
Yeah.
if in this piece of literature that's going out, does it speak about any type of paints or anything like that? I know we spoke about it before that we were going to have like a special.
The hazardous
hazard
materials.
It says the do's and the don'ts of recycling, but I'll be coming back in the next edition of our newsletter. I'll be speaking about our November 12th hazardous material recycling day.
Because some people may not know the difference and be putting it in there thinking they're recycling, and maybe that might bring the levels up. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not the hazardous material that's going in, that's contaminating it. It's other stuff. It's garbage.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
But I think it's a good opportunity to remind everybody of this program that we're doing in
Yeah.
November.
No, it's definitely. Councilwoman Smith?
Thank you so much. Through the chair, I understand when we first were taught about the recycling, before it ever started, the woman that came up from the county said not yet, because other equipment can allow you to bring in other things. So how often will that change? I mean, I just found out that paper plates, not styrofoam, clean paper plates don't even go in recycling.
Well, like everything, it's a moving industry, and there are updates that need to be given with that. I remember the lady from the county when she came up. One of the instructions they gave was that even if a horse's head, quote unquote, was in the bins, we'll take it. But that's not good practice. We're here to encourage good practice, and of course, recycle often, recycle right.
I hope the police chief will look into if we have horses' heads in our garbage, please.
It was quote unquote.
Sounds like something out of a movie.
I just
Aye,
wanted
so.
to say.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Director Scott. Madam Manager?
Paulette Murphy? Director Murphy?
We could get the FLY program participants to come up, please. FLY program, Naomi, Chief, Linda, come on up. Julio.
Handsome group of kids.
Tall in the back, short in the front. I will be brief as Naomi is going to actually do the presentation. I just wanted to say a major, come on to the front, Chief. Thank you to the Chief, the PAL program. Linda has been absolutely fabulous to work with. I know when you first got here, you came to my office and we met for about 3 hours. I didn't go home till about 10 o'clock that night. So I know that the PAL program has a lot of great programs that are coming forward. I know the dance program over at Allen Park is a major success. We hear nothing but compliments from the parents. So we want to say a major thank you to the Chief. Thank you for supporting all the youth in the city and all that you do and keep the LETF funds coming. Definitely our way, and we will look forward to the great partnership with PAL.
All right, good evening, everyone. Actually, the PAL program, the FLY program, which is Future Leaders of Tomorrow, youth, in our youth, thank you. See, you guys were paying attention, so you know the name, thank you. It's an 8-week summer camp program for teens in high school, ages 15 to 17. It's an enrichment camp. They do various activities. It's a great program, and I'm very honored, and I feel blessed that I can stand in front of you today and speak about the program, because the changes that I see from the first day that I see these kids to the last day of camp is totally amazing, and all of the credit is due to the wonderful teachers that they have, Ms. Guthrie and Mr. Leslie. They do a great job with the kids. They push them. They make them strive for doing bigger and better. All of them have gotten their first aid and CPR certification. They've had various speakers come in and speak on various subjects. They've actually had a woman who was an engineer come and speak to the kids. They do career development, leadership development, job. They've gone through job interviews, so they get career development. It is an excellent program. I'm going to let the kids introduce themselves and talk a little bit about the program.
Name and school.
Hello. Hello, my name is Danielle Kadu. This program was it was a good learning experience.
Hello, my name is Allison Yanis. Well, this program I learned a lot, such as like how to be prepared for an interview. And in my mind, it was like ready and stuff like that when school started, because we did a lot of work.
Hi, my name is Jalicia Farris, and in this program I had very fun and really enjoyed meeting new people.
Hi, my name is Darlene Prophet. In this program, it helped me build my character, and I had amazing teachers, and I am very thankful.
Hello, my name is Kayla Humes. I experienced a lot, and it helped me get ready for entering high school.
Hello, my name is Tafari Herman, and in this program, I learned the basics of life and how to be successful in it, thanks to my teachers.
Good evening. My name is Stephania Jermaine. Well, this program taught me a lot. It enhances my senses in reality, and yeah.
Good afternoon. My name is Sheldon Furiat. This program was a success. It wasn't only entertaining, but it was also instructive, such as with Ms. Guthrie helped. I learned how to prepare myself in an interview and make a resume. That's it.
My name is Rashford Mortimer. We learned a lot of stuff like how to write an essay like even better than we knew how to do before, and we sharpened up on our math skills and reading skills, and yeah, the program was a lot of fun.
Hi, my name is Sabrina Charitable. The FLY program taught me how to become more open with people, and it helped me, be ready for my junior year entering into high school.
Hi, my name is Christina Paul. The FLY program was very educational and fun, and we learned a lot, and we had great teachers.
Thank you. We'll make the presentations now. Part of this program is if the students finish all 8 weeks, they get an educational tool. So each year, thank you again, Chief, and the PAL program will have you do the presentations. They get an iPad mini for completing the program. So if we could get some help and let the Chief present them. Thank you, Chief. Say thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
The program is for exactly 13 students, but only the students that complete all 8 weeks receive the iPad minis. Councilman Pierre, since you're responsible for this, please join us for a photo. It's your brainchild. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, City Manager Anna Garcia, and all the mayor and council. Thank you. If we could get Midnight Basketball to come up. We'll say thank you to the chief again. This is Midnight Basketball. Dwight Jackson is going to tell you about the program.
Good evening. This program that we have over the summer months of June through August for ages 11 through 13 and 14 through 17. These guys are here. They're the champions of the league. Let's give them a big round of applause. Four nights throughout the week, those guys are out there, not in the street, getting in any trouble, competing, learning teamwork, leadership skills. They also work on life skills through Gang Alternative, and the Police Athletic League comes in, communicates with the kids and talk with them. Did an outstanding job. Thank you, Linda and Chief, for your help. We have a token of our appreciation for the big coach, the Chief, with the kids on the bench, and this is for you, and thank you guys, and keep supporting us.
Wow, thank you so much.
Get a quick photo. Where are you going, Dwight? Thank you again, Mayor, Council, City Manager, and Chief. Linda.
I know you are. I love it. I love it.
Madam Manager, that was the last of your presentations to us, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay, let's go ahead and open the meeting for public comment. Madam Clerk, we'll go ahead and open the meeting for public comment at this time. Do we have any speakers?
Okay. The mayor and council have opened the meeting for public comment at this time. There's a 3-minute time limit for each speaker during public comment and a 3-minute time limit for each speaker during public hearings. You'll be called to the podium. Please give your name and address and the name and address of the organization in which you are representing. During public hearing items, please speak only on the item that is before council. The City of North Miami Beach recognizes the importance of civility. The City of North Miami Beach asks that all in attendance show respect towards each other. The first speaker is Roland Valou. and then Terrence Kamazuli.
Good evening. Long time no see. Long time no talk to you. My name is Ron Avayu. I still live at 13730 Highland Drive, North Miami Beach, Arch Creek District. First of all, I would like to thank you very much for the people involved with doing the little repair. Now we call it downtown Highland Village. They put some asphalt over there for about 500-600 feet. But they put the cement on each side of the street, which get the street a little narrower. I don't have any idea why they did it, but it looks very, very nice. It's beautiful. But now, as I was driving afternoon, I saw a car parked probably about 3 feet from the cement. It had a big truck, the FPNL, could not go through because the street had too narrow there. But beside that, it's beautiful. And we would like, if it's possible, to finish the sidewalk on the west side of Highland Drive. You're already about half of it done. It's beautiful, but the problem is you already put some grass over there and some nuts. They're driving on it. We did make it ugly. But this is beautiful. You're doing pretty good over there. And there's one thing that I went to a meeting last week in North Miami. And the people, they were talking about the water plan. I don't really know what your plans are, but if the election would be today or tomorrow or the next week, most of you will have to look for another job because all the people, they were there, they were very, very dissatisfied with the plan, with the water plan. I don't know exactly what it is, but you should know what you're planning to do with the water plan. Then it's up to you. Then you want to keep the people happy. I think it would be a good idea to let them know what you're planning to do. If it's good for the resident, what you plan concerning the water plan. If it's we're going to save money or whatever it is, I don't know. But anyway, you're doing pretty good so far, and now the building going up. And the taxes, we should be going down, not up. With all the money coming in from those old big buildings there, it should be down because right now I'm going broke, man. You charge me too much money. Anyway, that's all for tonight, and keep doing a good job. Right up. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, City Manager, City Clerk, City Attorney, and all others in attendance, and also those who are watching at home. My name is Terrence Kamazuli. Address is 17151 Northeast 17th Avenue, and I'm here at the bequeath of the City of North Miami Beach's Code Enforcement Board. At our last meeting on September 8, 2016, the board had asked me to speak on their behalf tonight in reference to the status of our board. As you know, our board has been in place since the late 1970s. We hear complaints of code enforcement issues brought forward by the city's code enforcement officers. We are a quasi-judicial entity and considered judgment by and of our peers. The members of the board, Peter Rowland, Barry Moses, Kelly Joachim, Edward St. Hilaire, myself, and alternate Michael Joseph are concerned about the status of the board, as it was announced a few months ago at a city council conference about moving all cases to a special magistrate and sunsetting this board. The members of the board feel it is our civic duty to assist the city, and we do it as volunteers with no compensation from the city. The residents see us as a jury of peers and that we are considerate and impartial when it comes to our judgments. In the distant past, we heard all cases of enforcement that code enforcement officers brought forth. However, in the last decade, the city has decided as an experiment to hire a magistrate paying hundreds of dollars an hour that was supposed to hear commercial cases only. Over the past few years, rehearings and mitigation cases were moved to the magistrate, and now all we hear are residential cases, including ratifications. We are seeing more compliance over the past 2 years, and our city is becoming, quote, a cleaner and more beautiful city, unquote, as well as, quote, a safer city, unquote, thanks to the hard work of our code enforcement team led by Lazaro Redmond and Tashima Lewis. In the last year, we went from a full 7-member board with 1 alternate to a board with only 5 members and an alternate. The appointment of Lawrence Larry Thompson to the Planning and Zoning Board opened up my movement from an alternate to the board and the appointment of Michael Joseph as an alternate. Subsequently, the appointment of Jarrett Gross to the Planning and Zoning Board and the resignation of Dr. Barry Sugar has created 2 openings on the board which would have yet to be filled, as Michael Joseph is still the alternate. This has created an issue, as if more than one board member is absent, we would not have a quorum to hear cases. As seen with recent events on the council, this can cause backups in the system if this were to happen. At the City Council conference a few months ago, our City Attorney, Jose Smith, brought forward an announcement about revisiting the ordinance that created all of our city committees and boards and how a lot of them are no longer in existence. Our board was mentioned as the one that could be sunsetted, as he feels the magistrate system is more efficient to the city. It is the opinion of our board that this would be not a good thing for the residents of the city, as it would appear to have some bias. A city magistrate hired and paid hundreds of dollars an hour by the city making decisions about our residents' homes and properties in favor of the city does not look right in citizens' eyes. Also, our citizens tend to work during the day and cannot attend magistrate hearings in the afternoons. This will result in decisions made without any input from the resident and could result in further non-compliance by residents. However, if the City Council feels that this is in the best interest of the city, we will follow your lead. Finally, we ask that a decision can be made sooner than later about our status as a board, and if we are going to continue to be a board, we need to be brought to full membership as soon as possible. We are distressed not knowing if we are going to have a meeting the next month, and making announcements that a meeting will take place may be untrue. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Kamazuli.
Mubarak Kazan.
Mubarak Kazan, 15564 Northeast 12th Avenue, North Miami Beach. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I oppose the G5 that is coming up here tonight. I think they should even sunset that business and businesses like that. I would not miss it. And I support the code board staying. I would like to read something that I came across, an article. It began like this. I'm convinced that politics is about deception. It is about making one group of people look good at the same time criticizing the other. In doing so, the politicians give credence to the adage that the more things change, the more they remain the same. I did not get an invite to come and speak at the budget tonight, even though I came at 6 minutes after 6. So I would try to cover as much as I could. This year's budget, 2016-2017, it's $131.5 million. Last year's budget, 2015-2016, it's $116 million. That's a difference of $15.5 million. I asked, why more? There was no public explanation given. And I saw it in the minutes again on the agenda tonight. The millage rate was reduced by 1% since 2011 for North Miami Beach. But please note, the school board and Miami-Dade County had reduced the millage rate overall by 0.5. So you guys are a bit late and a bit slow on that. But you also increase the water rates by 9%. So you give us $2, but you're taking 9% increase in the water rates. We propose a budget of 434 full-time employees, but you have on the display that you showed about 255 full-time employee average. I do not know why you can't come out full right and put the 434 full-time employees. What is there to hide? And we outsource sanitation, saying that we're going to save on things like workers' comp. But yet, you increase workers' comp by $500,000 this year. So where are the savings? And we had a $58 million bond in 2012. We only have a $32 million in reserves. What happened to the $26 million from 2012 to now? And if you can explain to me I know you wouldn't. The $15.5 million increase in this year's budget. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Madam
That
Clerk?
was the last speaker,
Last
Mr. Mayor.
speaker. Okay, public comment is closed. And actually, Madam Clerk, before we move on with the agenda, I just, so that no one who's watching this or the public that's here gets confused, during the budget hearing, did we allow for public comment? Did we call for public comment?
We had public comment on both the resolution and the ordinance, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's move on to our appointments. We've got a
Move to appoint Councilwoman Barbara Kramer as the Vice Mayor starting October 1st, 2016.
Starting
Okay.
October 1st.
moved and seconded appointing Councilwoman Barbara Kramer as Vice Mayor to begin October 1st, 2016. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Congratulations. Well, October 1st, October 2nd. Okay. Let's go ahead and move. Approval of the consent agenda. We have 2 items there.
Second.
With changes.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda, which is item 8.1 and item 8.2. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Consent agenda. By the way, I'm sorry, that was moved as with the amendment to the meeting minutes. That was the motion. Okay, Madam Manager, your report, please.
May I read it?
Oh, I'm
please?
sorry.
Okay.
I'm jumping ahead.
8.1, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami Beach, Florida, standardizing voluntary cooperation and operational assistance mutual aid agreements in substantially the attached form for the purpose of coordinating law enforcement planning operations and mutual aid benefit between the City of North Miami Beach and governmental agencies, and authorizing the City Manager and the City Clerk to execute the aforementioned agreements. 8.2 are the regular meeting minutes of September 6, 2016, as amended.
Move to approve.
No, it's already approved. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay, Madam Manager, your report, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. We have Patrick Brett to give our CRA update.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Madam Manager, Mr. Attorney, and Madam Clerk. Patrick Brett, CRA Administrator. This evening, through the manager, we would like to congratulate all of you for being the first city to adopt a CRA budget in Miami-Dade County.
Wow.
This year marked an improvement of a 2-week improvement from last year. So that was our benchmark, and we improved upon it. The new CRA budget for this fiscal year includes wayfinding signage, targeted business attraction program, and a new sewer tie-in grant. Other information is also provided on the memorandum in your agenda package. Again, thank you, and appreciate this opportunity to come before you.
Thank you, Mr. Brett.
Thank you.
Director Scott.
Good evening, everyone. Ever since Ana Garcia joined this wonderful city to take the lead as city manager, she has always said that we need to be engaged in our professional associations, that we need to be plugged in, we need to know what the best practices are in the areas in which for which we are responsible. And to that end, I was able to attend the American Public Works Association most recently in Minneapolis. And there were about 6,000 professionals there. There's a lot to see. There's a lot to learn. There were things I saw that we were doing great, and there were things that I saw that we weren't even doing. But needless to say, it was a good learning experience. I've brought back a lot. We've implemented a lot already. I've shared with my colleagues, and I've shared with regional professionals. One of the things that we will be doing as a department is that we think to establish a certain standard is to be accredited. And so I'm just here this evening to let you know that we are going to begin the process to be an accredited public works department. What that does is that gives you bragging rights, so to speak, as an overall entity. But for the folks who are working in the public works, what we do is that we set a standard, and we not only try to reach that standard, we need to go over that. And every 4 years, we have to be accredited. But it's a really wonderful endeavor that we'll be embarking on. I'm very delighted to bring that to you and to let you know that your Public Works department is going to be going places.
One quick question: before you go, what kind of timeline does that take?
It takes an average of 2 to 3 years, but it depends on how fast someone wants to go.
Okay.
So it's not going to take us 3 years.
So it's similar to like the accreditation of the police department, like that.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Correct.
Awesome. Thank you.
Director Scott.
Thank you so much.
Mayor, we have my assistant, Lynetta Jackson, and your chief of staff, Nicole Gomez, to do a brief presentation because we want to make sure that we keep talking about our October 1st 90th celebration until it happens, because we want to continue to market and publicize this really great event.
Good evening,
Ladies.
Mayor and Council. Thank you, Manager, Deputy City Manager, Assistant City Manager, City Attorney, Deputy City Attorney, City Clerk. So this will be brief. We just want to share a little bit more information with you regarding the VIP Taste of NMB. So the VIP actually starts at 7 p.m. The general admission starts at 8 p.m. VIP is $30. General admission is free. So with the VIP, the attendees will receive an open bar, which is free beer and wine. Also tasty treats from some of the local restaurants, such as Lorenzo's, Morton Steakhouse, Kababji, our favorite Krispy Kreme, also Vicky's Bakery. In addition to that, something very special will be a limited Romero Burrito promotional item or items for some of the attendees as well. Also, we'll have promotional opportunities for photographs with some of the performing artists. In addition to that, you'll also have autograph sessions. So we encourage everyone to come out. It's going to be a fun event. Saturday, October 1st, along Northeast 19th Avenue between 164th and 171st Street. Nicole Gomez, your Chief of Staff, will give you additional information regarding marketing and promotional efforts for the 90th. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynette.
Thank you. Good evening, residents. We're promoting the event almost everywhere. Parks and Rec has distributed 20,000 flyers and 75 posters. Our intern, Nicholas Williams, today was able to put some of those posters in Winn-Dixie, Duffy's, the Ale House, and IPEG Theater. In addition to that, some of the schools, Greg Williams has already approached them, and they'll be posting those flyers in those schools, churches as well, and you'll soon be listening to the PSA announcements on Hot 105, Power 96, Haitian Radio, 1700 AM and 1580 AM. And our social media is in full force on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. To purchase tickets for the 90th Taste of NMB, please visit citynmb.com/90th. You'll be redirected to the Eventbrite link, at which time you can purchase the ticket for $30. Thank you.
Thank you. Hold on one second because we have questions. Councilwoman Smith?
That was my question. Thank you. That was my question. So they can buy tickets in advance, but could they buy tickets when they get there?
Yes,
as well?
they can. They will be able to.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Looking forward to it. Coming a week and a half away.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if October wasn't busy enough, we have a really, really exciting event. It's our NMB Magical History Tour, and we do that with the very hard work and dedication of Councilwoman Barbara Kramer. And this year, we're going to have a very special Magical History Tour because throughout the whole year, we're going to be celebrating our 90th. We're also going to break ground on the historic fountain. Your efforts up in Tallahassee has allowed us to work on a $225,000 renovation project for our fountain. So I want to turn it over to Councilwoman Barbara Kramer to talk about a little bit about your Magical History Tour. She doesn't want to take the credit, but I went on the tour last year and it was fantastic.
It's not that I don't want to take credit. I just didn't know I had to speak, and everyone knows how much I love to speak. Anyway, the Magical History Tour, for those of you who have not been on it, is a really wonderful historical tour of our city. Takes you through the different parts of our history, starting with our Coral Rock Wall, which was one of 4 corners of our city. Explains the Central Park, which was in the heart of our city. The fact that we had the first radio station was right here. takes you to Fulford Fountain, where there was supposed to be many more of these fountains in our city, but that stopped when we had the Great Depression and everything. The bubble fell back then. And we go through the different schools, Fulford, talk about, the integration over there, and Washington Park. It's just a very, very interesting tour. We end at at Krispy Kreme. No, that's not in our city, Tony. Councilman DiFilippo, you better go on the tour again, get another lesson. But we do go to Southern Memorial Gardens, which is the resting place of many of our forefathers. So we conclude it there and talk about their great part of the contribution to our city. So it'll be very exciting this year because finally we'll be able to stop at the fountain and finally see the hard work and dedication and the asking of Tallahassee for grant money to restore this beautiful feature in our city, which really has very little left to show of our history because of all the rebuilding that's been done. So thank you very much for giving me this time to talk about the tour, and I hope that commercial will bring some people on board.
And that fountain's going to look wonderful.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Also, this year is a Sunday, right?
What's that?
This year, the tour is on a Sunday.
Yes. Thank you so much for that. Yes, the tour is on a Sunday this year because we definitely needed a day for a lot of people in our community, whether you're Seventh-day Adventist or you're Orthodox, and Saturday is your day of rest. It'll be on a Sunday, so we hope to get people out there who wouldn't have been able to go in the past when it's on a Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And our last report of the evening is coming from Director of Utilities, Mr. Thompson, Jeff Thompson. Brief report.
Brief?
Yes.
Okay. It's a complex topic, but I'll make it as brief as I can. Thank you, and good evening, everyone.
No engineer speak.
I'll do my best.
Layman speak.
So on April 19th of 2016, Resolution 2016-22, to issue a request for qualifications for operational partnership services came to council, and that was approved. In response to that direction, we worked with the Eisenhart Group to develop some language for that request for qualifications. As you all are aware, Eisenhart delivered that key deliverable, the RFQ language, and that was tailored to NMB Water, covered all of the services that we needed, including the technical specifications. So as we move forward towards the actual procurement process, we are moving towards engaging special counsel to look at the procurement aspects of the RFQ to make sure that the city is completely protected, and the city attorney's office has engaged a firm for that purpose. Also, as we move through this, we have been keeping the employees completely up to date on every step of the process. We have worked with our human resources group to hold multiple town hall style meetings where we've answered dozens of questions. We've compiled all of those questions and the answers and place those onto the city's intranet so that the employees can access those whenever they want to. We've also handed those out. But recently there's been some very inaccurate information that's been coming out about the request for qualifications, and that's been disseminated. And in response, we developed some additional frequently asked questions and answers, and we've placed those on the city's website. So those are available at www.citynmb.com for anyone who is interested. But I wanted to briefly go over some of those and some of the sort of key misleading statements that have been made and our responses to those. So the first is, does the city want to privatize NMB Water or sell NMB Water? And the answer is a resounding no. We absolutely never contemplated that, and that is not under consideration at all. Instead, we were seeking to have a contract company to manage day-to-day operational functions, and we would not be managed by the Public Service Commission, as has been alleged, so that they would not be involved in rates or anything like that. That would still be up to the pleasure of council, and council would determine all of the rates. for the utility. Will the contract result in higher water bills? That's not our objective at all. In fact, we have a lot of safeguards in place to prevent that, and the operational objectives of the RFQ are to operate the utility at the same or lower costs, not to increase costs, so that rates would not go up as a result of this process. Lost jobs and benefits, there are accusations there. We handled the sanitation. The city went through the process with sanitation, and we don't have any intention to deviate from that process. So we've said that every single hourly employee will retain their positions, provided they pass certain screenings for drug, background, and physical screenings. And let's see. As far as there being a local loss over the utility, again, the city will continue to provide that oversight. The Public Utilities Commission will still be providing oversight. The city manager's office, you as mayor and council, will continue to provide that oversight. This utility and every aspect of it will be owned by the city of North Miami Beach. So anyhow, there are a number of other items, and I won't belabor it any further, but I thought that those were important points to get across tonight. So.
Mayor and council, we just want to let you know that there's going to be misinformation out there. Sometimes you're going to hear it. Sometimes you're going to be present at those meetings. But we're going to continue to counter that misinformation with factual responses. Be available to any resident to meet with them. Be able to be transparent in regards to the information that we put out there, and have it in our website. But when I hear things about not informing our employees, that's not how we are. Like Director Thompson said, we've had a series of public meetings at the McDonald Center where we have answered dozens of questions, hundreds of questions that we have, and then we'll provide that for you. We're prepared to bring a file to you so you can have it. So as your constituents ask you, you guys are well informed with all the facts always. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Thompson, but hold on a second, Councilwoman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Having received the notice of that meeting through one of our local residents, I actually sat through part of it. Will this have, and I'm going to ask questions just to make sure that you can clarify it, will this have any effect on the bonds already issued or the bond rates?
So one of the reasons why the city attorney's office is engaging Bryant Miller Olive is to ensure that it will not have any impact on the bonds. But I'll defer to the city attorney.
I just want to clarify that Bryant Miller and Olive, which is an approved law firm that already handles our bond work, has a number of attorneys in their Tallahassee office who deal exclusively with these kinds of public procurement where there are technical engineering specifications involved. In fact, one of the attorneys we're working with has an engineering degree. And I think it's clear also, and we're going to put this in the bid, that whoever the successful bidder turns out to be will have to reimburse the city for all of our legal costs and expenses regarding the formulation of the RFQ and the process of selecting the bidder. So our expectation is that we will be fully reimbursed.
So the answer in a nutshell, in a one word, is that it's yes, it's going to be okay with the bonds, right?
Well, the answer is no, because I asked would have any effect on
so it's
bonds
no.
or the bond.
The answer is no. Got
The
it.
answer is no.
Got it.
Okay. Second question from that meeting. Will it have any effect on the city's ability to set water rates?
Absolutely none.
Okay. Will it call into play any state regulation on the city's ability to set water rates?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Last question from that meeting. Is state approval required to do this?
It is not.
Okay. Now, one other, and this God bless Chuck Cook, who was sitting near me, because I was stunned. How long has the city owned the water plant?
So well, there are a couple different versions of the water plant. It has grown over time, but the main plant at Norwood that we purchased, which we currently use, it was purchased in 1957.
Okay. I asked that because one of the stunning things I heard at that meeting was somebody vociferously saying that the state needs to investigate because we purchased the water plant just before Miami Gardens was incorporated. So,
I guess they were a
say
little wrong.
again how long we've owned that water plant.
Since 1957.
Okay. For all of you who were at that meeting, the answer was 1957. Had nothing to do with the incorporation of Miami Gardens, City of Miami Gardens. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
That's about 50 years ahead or something like that, right?
More than that.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be
I'm just trying
No.
to bring some more
Yeah.
clarity because I sat through that meeting. I thought it would be helpful for our residents.
All right. Councilwoman Smith?
Thank you. Through the chair, is the Eisenhower Group still
Eisenhower, yeah,
Eisenhower from California. Are they still involved?
They are not.
Okay, so did they complete what we voted $75,000 for them to have?
The vast majority of it, the key deliverable. They basically they had 3 different parts that they were going to complete. They completed the first 2 parts. The major deliverable was the RFQ language. We met with them. We determined that at that point it was in the city's best interest to just move towards engaging an attorney rather than continuing with the Eisenhart Group.
And so the attorney's going to finish up because there was one more phase after.
That's correct.
And the attorney's going to do the last phase?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Director Thompson? Yep.
Ask, Mr. Mayor, through the chair. Mr. City Attorney, do we have to go back and amend that resolution then? My recollection is the resolution was for Eisenhart to prepare the RFQ, and there were no ifs, ands, or buts.
It's a good question. I think we need to formally terminate our relationship with the Eisenhart Group, either by an amended resolution or some type of termination of agreement. I think that's something that we'll take a look at.
Okay. I guess you guys will take care of that.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you. Director Thompson, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Madam Manager, anything else?
That concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I am pleased to report that we were able to settle an important case, a wrongful death case that I briefed you on a number of months ago. We had mediation about a week or 10 days ago. H.T. Smith, who's a legal giant and well-known attorney, mediator, participated. We were in mediation just about the whole day. I'm going to let my deputy city attorney, Dottie Joseph, brief you on what happened at the mediation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So this arose from a police excessive force claim that was the result of an undercover drug operation in which an individual was trying to purchase a large amount of illegal drugs for distribution. When the officers attempted to effectuate the arrest, the individual resisted with a deadly weapon. The Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office investigated the incident and found the officers had acted lawfully. His estranged wife filed a lawsuit in federal court with 4 counts. Those counts included excessive force against the defendant officers, excessive force against the city. Those were the federal claims, and then 2 state claims, one for wrongful death and the other for loss of consortium. That was against all defendants. After significant discovery, I represented the city, and we had Bob Switkus represent the defendant officers. We were able to establish many of the strengths of the city's case, as well as clarify the weaknesses in the plaintiff's case. Most litigators will tell you that such cases do not settle for less than 6 figures. And by that I mean multiple 6 figures. On the heels of a very aggressive defense, the parties mediated the case, and I'm pleased to report that we were able to resolve the claim for a total of $30,000, which is well within the amount that was authorized by the council at the attorney-client executive session regarding this litigation. So the city maintains that the officers acted lawfully and reasonably in the situation, but we were able to resolve this matter primarily to save on the cost of litigation through trial, as well as the inherent risk of trying such a case in this climate. So we were able to resolve it, and we're pleased to report.
And I would add that H.D. Smith, the mediator, the attorney that representing the officers, and the officers themselves, who I spoke with, and I wanted to make sure that they were okay with the settlement, and they were very much in agreement. All of them praised Deputy City Attorney Dottie Joseph for handling the negotiations and reaching this settlement, which is, as was stated earlier, well within the authority that you gave me at the attorney-client session. And I have nothing else.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Before we move on to the business tax receipts that we have to deal with, I need to take a second to address something that happened at our last meeting on September 6th. And, we basically had a breach in our parliamentary rules, and I want to take this a minute to talk to my colleagues a second, because I think that there's, like in most things, there's an opportunity for some learning, and there's an opportunity here for some improvement. And what happened is, I guess we've been utilizing the point of privilege or point of personal privilege request inappropriately or improperly for kind of a long time. And to specifically what happened in the at the last meeting was that when I gave a point of privilege to Councilwoman Spiegel, she had some questions that were brought up, and then it basically, the point of privilege ended up morphing into a motion to dismiss the city attorney, and that is out of order for a point of privilege, and I should have stopped it at the time. I didn't, and so I apologize. First of all, I want to apologize to Mr. Smith, our city attorney, for not following the rules on that. But I also want to apologize to my colleagues, because it was a breach of the rules. Further, the questioning that took place we happened to have Joe Santorino here with us that day for, I guess, a legislative issue that he came to speak on, and the questioning that took place of him, that was also out of order. Again, I should have stopped it. I didn't, and I just want you guys to know that I called Joe Santorino personally to apologize for that, because that really shouldn't have happened. But what we need to do is just be aware that when the point of personal privilege is really supposed to be used for a very brief interjection of something that, I mean, it could be something as simple as the air conditioning it's too cold in the meeting room, or there's too much noise from something like that. And so hopefully we will use it and administrate it properly in the future. And if there's other stuff that is lengthier, it's stuff that can be dealt with when we do our council reports. Good and welfare type of discussion. Anyway, I just wanted everybody to know that, and I do want to say, Mr. Smith, that, again, I apologize for what happened last meeting. I want you to know that I have complete confidence in you, and you have my 100% support. So that's all.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
I don't know whether it's to you or to the city clerk. When something occurs, which occurs after the agenda is published, and a council member wants to have a discussion from the dais, because in council reports we can't have discussions, what's the appropriate mechanism?
I tell you what, can you guys get me the correct methodology on that?
I'll look it up, but I believe that may be a point of order, because you're...
Well, the point of order would be any kind of if somebody recognizes that there's the rules are being violated or not being followed, that somebody raises the point of order. Point of information would be the request for information. So I tell you what, let's get the exact answer on that, and for our next meeting we'll have exactly what it is. Okay, yes?
Just wanted to make a comment. On our agenda, we have miscellaneous items. Couldn't we use that section there for that?
You could.
The
But that
problem
would have
is,
to be
at what point, I guess it's really a legal question or a parliamentarian, at what point does an item have to be a what do you call it, an agenda item?
Right.
So
that would have to put it in miscellaneous. You would either have to do that at the beginning of the meeting when we call for additions, changes, etc., or previous to the agenda being published.
do you have a concrete answer to it? If not, we can get it, research it and come back to us.
The only concrete answer that I can give you is that the code provides for adding matters to the agenda on a 5/7 vote. I believe it may require an emergency. I'm not sure, but we can discuss that when we discuss the proposed ordinance, the proposed resolution that you have on the agenda.
Well, so that everyone up here has the right information. Let's get it and have it exact. Okay. Thank you. Okay, we have two business tax receipts. First item is item 13.1, G5 LLC. Who is presenting this?
You need a motion to introduce?
Oh, yes.
Motion to introduce 13.1 G5.
I'm sorry, this is not an introduce, that's approve or
deny.
Not, yeah. Okay. For discussion.
Well,
motion to approve.
Okay, just let's be clear. The motion to approve is the item which is listed, which is requesting a 4 to 6 extension of hours.
You can approve it for discussion.
Okay. Wait. Well, I mean.
Are you moving to discuss it?
No, she motion to approve for discussion. You can do it for discussion.
Well, there's going to be discussion no matter what.
Right, but
so.
Yeah.
It's just moved. It's moved. You're moving it to moving for approval as the item is listed.
Correct.
Okay, and who seconded? Okay, it's moved and seconded. Moved and seconded, and hi.
Hi. Good afternoon. Well, good evening to you all. My name is Camille Miller. I'm here on behalf of G5 LLC. I just wanted to first give a heartfelt thanks to the police officers who've been wonderful to us, and we've enjoyed our relationship with the city. And so I just want to lead with that before we begin.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Candido Sosa Cruz, Deputy City Manager. As discussed, this item is a BTR renewal for 4 to 6 a.m. business tax receipt. This request is from G5 LLC, DBA G5, located at 337 Northwest 170th Street. The request is to operate their business in the city of North Miami Beach during the hours of 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. The package in front of you contains business licenses and also contains calls for service from our police department for the last 12 months for this establishment. I believe the Chief of Police is here. He'll be able to answer any questions related to the calls for service. The administration recommends approval of this BTR, and I'm here to answer any questions that the mayor and council might have.
Okay, great.
Mr. Mayor? May I ask our city attorney a question?
Go ahead.
Does Ms. Noor have to either be an officer of the corporation or an attorney for the corporation to speak on their behalf?
Are you representing the corporation?
She's a registered lobbyist.
She's registered as a lobbyist.
Okay, that answers that.
Yeah. And she just registered previous to the meeting, so that's why it wasn't on your list.
Thank you. Did you have a question or no? I see you moving. No. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. Just to be sure, Mr. Sosa Cruz, you said the staff looked at it and recommended favorably.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion? No. Madam Clerk, can we? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't. Go ahead.
Chief, I'm usually not against businesses in general, but this one really bothered me because of the numbers of complaints that were received.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Are there any? I understand that a lot of times it's just calls that are called up, and there's really nothing substantial, and you go out there and so on and so forth. But in this particular year, there was a substantial amount of calls.
I believe you have 54 calls, 54, 52. one off the top of my head when I last read it.
No, I thought there were more than
The memo says 75.
And I think if you go back into them, you're going to find out a lot of them were traffic stops,
Right.
and you're going to have a lot of disturbances that really were unfounded.
Okay, that's why I was asking, because I know that there are some, there was a large amount, but I wanted to make sure that they were, like I said, just sometimes there's routine checkups or whatever you want to call it, and they're not anything that was, that we had to keep an eye on or recommend for only a six months rather than the full year. Okay, thank you.
I also want to add a comment. Before the administration approves these BTRs, we do get together with the chief of police, with our code compliance, with everyone to make sure that they're running a clean business, that they're not utilizing the police department's time excessively, and then after that is when we recommend approval of the BTR.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilwoman Smith?
Thank you very much. Anybody that has been paying attention to these coming before us knows that I am against the 4 to 6, and I just wanted to make note for the record that Orlando this past week passed, and that is certainly an international place for holidaying and enjoying life. They just passed that there will be no liquor stores and none of that sold after 2 p.m. in their city of Orlando. I see what the chief is saying. There were a lot of things here that were not, Councilwoman, that were not, but there were 9 disturbances. There were 7 assaults and batteries. There were 6 arrests, miscellaneous arrests. Burglary of vehicles, 9 of them, but, in that neighborhood, which is under the expressway kind of, I just think that the direction the city has been going under this management, that this is a no from my seat.
Okay. Anyone else? Oh, yeah, Councilor.
Thank you, Mayor. Real quickly, Chief, I would like to direct a question towards you.
Sure.
At what time does our officers, or they're off duty, obviously, go on post to this facility?
It depends on the night, but I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's 12 o'clock all the way to 5 o'clock in the morning. Some days are 11 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the morning.
So what happens like at 6 in the afternoon or 7:30 or?
Zone officer will go over there, be backed up by the next adjacent zone officer.
I asked this question for a reason, and I'm very clear when I ask a question, and I like everybody to know why. The reason why I asked the question is because on several occasions I've passed by and I've seen a lot of cars outside, even parked along the curb, blocking normal traffic. So, along with the list of things that I'm seeing, to hear that some of them may be frivolous, some of them may be serious, what concerns me is also the egress and degress of being able to get in and out of this park safely. So that's why I asked that question. And is there adequate parking for this facility there? Because as it looks right now, there is not.
At one point, we did have a big problem, and we spoke to not only the owners of G5, but to the adjacent owners of other establishments, and we corrected that problem. And remember, we sent you the photographs, and within the 2 days, we had it all cleaned up.
Well, and that's a technical question. Did you guys address that in your review? I mean, for the councilman?
Yes, we actually worked with the chief, code compliance, and our police department worked together because there was a complaint of cars parking on the swale and double parking, and we did address it, and we're constantly monitoring this parking. The vehicles are not just coming from the G5 establishment, but from other neighboring establishments as well. But this is an issue that we are monitoring, so it doesn't happen again.
All set? Anyone else?
Just one more comment.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go here. 1 second. I reviewed the notes on it, and I believe that staff they've created a very solid process, I think, to look at these things and be able to advise us, by bringing in code, bringing in police, bringing in the different disciplines, if you will, and looking at it objectively rather than, and actually taking an objective look at it. So I'm going to follow the staff's advice, and I mean, not the staff's advice, but I agree with the recommendation. I think that it's okay to approve this. But okay, who was next, Councilwoman?
This is just more a curiosity question. If we're giving them a 4 to 6 license, why are the off-duty police officers only working until 5?
Well, they would have to be extended until 6.
Pardon me?
They should be extended until 6 o'clock. Absolutely.
Is that, why hasn't it,
I can bring it up. We can extend it.
Wasn't that set from before?
I think the officers work till 6 o'clock because there's always a layover of hours and people hanging out, and officers have to clear everybody out of the area.
well, that's what I'm asking. I'm hearing you say 5 a.m. and the staff is recommending a 4 to 6 license, and I would think that if they're open until 6.
Are you sure that the 5 information is correct? Because I seem to remember that when we approved this, I can't imagine that the council would have approved a 4 to 6 before without policing going to 6. Can we get the right
Mr. Mayor,
detail on that?
If I may, we will not be recommending a 4 to 6 without having the up to 6 police presence there at the site.
So how about we just make it clear that our approval would be, I mean, if it happens, whatever, the item that we're discussing would be with policing through, the time that they're operating.
That is correct.
Right, through the 6. Okay, that should make it clear. Yes. I seem to remember 6 because, but
I thought so too.
yeah, I have a feeling that may not be accurate. Okay.
Okay, other question, my typical question. Have we been paid regularly and in full for the off-duty police?
Since we had that little hiccup about a year ago, we've never had a problem since.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Martel?
Just a quick comment to be made in regards to the way that we're taking our city and so on and so forth. One of the things that our residents should be aware of is that it is best to have all types of locations in specific zones. We have removed them from Biscayne Boulevard, and this is the locations where it's properly zoned. That keeps our city away from a liability because we should have this type of zoning. Every city should allow for all types of businesses, and if it doesn't, it does open the city up to a liability. Cities that choose not to have it, that's up to them. And again, like I said, that opens them up to a liability. But I think that it is proper what we're doing to having it in a location where it is of an industrial setting, not a residential setting. And I think that, just being able to have all types of businesses, even if we personally don't approve of them, that's fine. But it is what's right for keeping our city in check and keeping our city away from liability. So that's what I wanted to bring up.
If I may interject?
Sure. Yeah.
My officers are bombarding me. They're watching the TV right now. It's 6 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, so we're ready for the question. Just to clarify, the motion is to approve the 4 to 6 license for G5 LLC DBA G5, and also to be clear that it is with the contract for police coverage that runs through 6 a.m. that is in place right now. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say no.
No.
Okay. So what's that, 4? I got 4 to 3?
4-3.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. And let's take up next one if I can get a motion for this.
Motion to introduce.
No, approve.
Approve Dean's Gold.
Wait, let her finish the whole motion.
13.2 Platinum South Inc., also doing business as Dean's Gold.
And that is for a 4 to 6 extension of hours BTR.
Yes.
Okay. Now my turn? Yes. Second. Okay. Moved and seconded to approve the Platinum South DBA Dean's Gold 4 to 6 extension of hours to the business tax receipt license. Staff?
Good evening again. As mentioned, this is a second item for BTR renewal for 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. This request is from Platinum South Inc., DBA Dean's Gold, located at 2355 Northeast 163rd Street. This request is to operate the business during the hours of 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. Part of your packet, you do have the calls for service for the last 12 months for this establishment.
And what is the staff's analysis based on your?
The staff's recommendation is approval, Mayor.
Okay, staff recommendation approval. Okay, thank you. Mr. Rosenthal, I see you here. Welcome.
I've been here for 20 some odd years doing the same thing.
Thank you. Well, let me see if let me see if there's any discussion. Anybody? Councilwoman Kramer?
Well, it just goes to show you how long this establishment has been in the city and how long you've represented them, and knowing your character, I think you would be representing, quality places. So
I try my best.
Yes, I know. And if they weren't, you'd fix that, right?
Yes.
I just want to mention that from my perspective, these are two establishments in our community that, while for some may not approve of it, may not be, something that they take a liking to, but they are here, and we do have a grandfather clause, so to speak, with these establishments. What I can appreciate is at least the ones that I'm approving this evening, because you will get my approval as well, is that I know who I'm approving this for. And there's a big difference between a business that stays around, we get to know them, and the officers know them, and things are going fairly well for these establishments, because let's face it, you can have these type of things happening in a Target parking lot. So I appreciate the fact that you have been here as long as you have, even though it may not be the best business we want to showcase, but you do your due diligence, and for that I appreciate it. So you will get a yes from me as the previous owners.
Okay. Oh, Councilwoman Smith?
I just want to make it clear that I'm not against the establishments of this type of business. I'm married to an Irishman. He doesn't drink every day, but I would say every night. So I can just say that I, too, know that Mr. Rosenthal, for probably more years than either one of us want to admit it, he is a very honorable man. The thing that I have always said, that our direction from 4 to 6, not to say differently than my councilwoman has said on the last issue, in reference to the place, it isn't the place we're arguing over where it should be, because you yourself said it should be by the expressway, and here this is on Biscayne Boulevard. It's the hours. I don't know another city, Miami Beach, that has these kind of hours. So I just want to say that it has nothing to do with the type of business it is. It has to do with North Miami Beach being the only place outside the county that stays open from 4 to 6 in Dade County. And thank you very much for the time, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we're ready for the question? All right. It's moved and seconded for the 4 to 6 extension of hours for Platinum South, DBA Dean's Gold. All in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed say no.
Opposed.
Is that one? What is that, 6-1 or?
6-1.
6-1. 6-1, okay. They're approved. Mr. Rosenthal, yes?
I'd just like to make one comment. It was very nice watching you all tonight, particularly with regard to your basketball team, midnight basketball. When I was a kid, I think they used to call it Midnight Auto Supply. So I think we've come a very, very long way since I was a kid. Remember those days? Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenthal. Okay.
Thank you. Hilarious.
Okay, that takes care of our BTRs. Let's, we have one piece of legislation, if I could get a motion to introduce it.
Motion to introduce 14.1 Resolution 2016-82.
Second.
Okay, move,
Resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami Beach, Florida, establishing due process procedures to remove any charter officer. This resolution, Mr. Mayor, is being presented at your request.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Madam Clerk, take your pick whose motion was first. I don't know, they seem like, okay. Okay, well, I had requested that this be brought to the agenda, and I would ask if Mr. Attorney, I guess if you'll just give us a quick thumbnail sketch for the public what this resolution does, and then we'll go into discussion.
So what this resolution does is it creates a procedure formalized by this resolution and consistent with the Sunshine Law and your code that will afford due process to a charter member who is the subject of a motion to terminate. If any one of you wishes to terminate a charter officer, this procedure would require the individual council person to file a written motion with the city clerk specifying the reasons, if any, why a particular charter officer should be terminated. Clearly, under the charter, you can terminate any charter officer at will. And this is not an attempt to circumvent that provision. It is an effort to create a process where the matter is put on the agenda, and the charter officer has an opportunity to respond and to put evidence on the record to basically as a way to protect that person's reputation. Because when an accusation, a charge is made, when a motion to terminate a charter officer is made, whether it passes or it doesn't pass, it has a very direct effect on that individual's reputation in the community, that individual's ethics and professionalism. And this process would give that charter officer the ability to properly respond to those accusations. And then after you all hear the side of the charter officer, whoever he or she might be, then of course four of you all, pursuant to the charter, may terminate that charter officer. This is not only consistent with the charter, it's consistent with the Sunshine Law, and it's consistent with the city code, which says that the clerk is required to present an agenda. And while not every single issue needs to be on an agenda, something that rises to the magnitude of terminating a charter officer should be on the agenda, and the cases so state that under the Sunshine Law, important matters of public interest should be on the agenda. So this is perfectly consistent with the charter, the code, the Sunshine Law, and due process. And I commend you, Mr. Mayor, for bringing this forward.
Thank you. Normally, as chair, I have to speak last, but since I wanted to bring this forward, if there's no objection, I'd like to be able to tell you what my thought process was, and then we can go around for any discussion. As the city attorney just said, I thought that the other day, I remember asking a question of the city attorney about how, because I thought that under the charter required a full council to be involved in any one of those decisions, and it turns out that that's not how that works. And this is something that I didn't just dream this up. I saw this provision in several other cities have a similar type of provision, and it just looked to me like a very smart best practice. And as I said earlier today, every time we find something that's not working right or that could use some improvement, we have been very, very courageous in this council in tackling a number of complex problems. And I think that this is an opportunity to take something that could be done better and make a statement as this council. Again, it's not an ordinance, it's just a resolution of policy of this council, that we're going to do things in a smarter way. And when the city attorney mentioned the words due process, it's very, very important. Due process is really the cornerstone of justice, and in this particular case, it's also a route in a policy that lends to good government. We all know that turmoil at the charter employee level is very costly. It can be very destabilizing, and I don't think it should be taken upon and dealt with lightly, or something that is just people deal with, that it gets just, comes out of left field, and then people are forced to make a decision without really having an opportunity to weigh all the facts and really be able to think about it. So my discussion with the attorney and what he proposed seems like a very common sense measure. At the end of the day, if a majority of the council feels that they need to make a change in one of the charter officers, it will happen. The only difference is that this policy that if we put this in place, will kind of put a little bit of a circuit breaker in place. It allows for tempers to cool, emotions to cool, and for everyone to make more of a level-headed decision with an opportunity for us to discuss it and come prepared for a discussion. So that's why I was very much in favor of this. Again, it's something that's in place in a lot of cities, and so when I saw it, I said, gee, that makes a whole lot of sense. So that's why I wanted to bring it up. Anyway, that's it. Anybody else? Yes, Councilwoman Smith?
This is a very difficult resolution for me to grasp, because any time this body passes a resolution or an ordinance, resolution being the policy and an ordinance being the law, it has to come before the council again or another council in the future to change it. And to me, terminate is to fire somebody. If we were to give somebody that did something that was so egregious that they needed to be terminated a week to clear out their desk, to perhaps not this charter employees, but once you pass a resolution, it's on the books until it's changed. There could very well be somebody down the pike that you need to terminate and walk out the door. This would not allow you to do this. I don't even know, as the clerk being one of our charter employees, how does that work that we're going to bring that before the clerk for the clerk to prepare it on the agenda? We're in an at-will state, and I just am confused how this would even work, not with R3 charter, but with the future until it's changed in case there was somebody else. This city has already experienced somebody that sold millions of dollars. We see in Dade County things that are going on, hopefully never in North Miami Beach. But we're going to set a policy that will be the policy until it's changed. And I just don't see how that could possibly apply. If somebody were to bring up to terminate somebody, which is the standard that we've had, this council had a majority vote to terminate somebody a year ago. If we brought that up, if they don't have the majority vote, they're not going to be terminated. If at that time that it's brought up and the person that's being terminated has an explanation to what you're discussing, then hopefully everybody up here is going to listen to the facts. I have a difficult time understanding how somebody could be given a 7-day notice that needs to be terminated and has the opportunity in 7 days, I don't want to say to do destruction to files or to take information or to, I don't know. I see too much television perhaps, but I just feel that this is a very difficult resolution to put before the city and for the residents to have that over their head, that there's somebody that did something so grievous and they would have a 7-day notice. That's just the way I see the resolution.
Okay. Just as a point of information, Mr. Attorney, when Councilwoman Smith referred to some things that were some of the examples she gave, wouldn't those be like criminal actions that would be some of those?
No.
Though, if you're talking about a criminal action, somebody getting indicted, arrested, there's already a procedure where the governor gets to suspend or you all get to suspend somebody immediately. You can always have an emergency meeting if there's a violation of the state law which provides for suspension or termination of certain public officers. You can do that immediately.
Okay.
This is not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm talking about just on the basis of somebody's opinion about something going wrong, one person making a motion to terminate a charter officer.
Okay.
Not
Thank you.
for criminals, not for criminal violations.
I'm going to go here. Councilwoman Spiegel, you were next.
Thank you. Okay. I can't help it. I think that this is wrong on a number of levels. First of all, the charter controls the appointment of charter officers. Article 2 in government says that the city council shall appoint the city attorney who shall serve at the pleasure of the city council. The council shall appoint the manager and the city clerk, who also presumably serve at the pleasure of the council. Article 4 provides that the city council shall appoint the manager, and the city manager may be removed by a majority of the council. Article 8, once again, provides that the city attorney is appointed by the city council to serve at the pleasure of the city council. These are provisions of our charter. We just had, 7 good citizens and a lot of outside legal counsel sit and do a charter review, and we have 10 ballot items that we're placing on the November ballot about our charter. This is not our job. This was the job of the Charter Review Committee and of us when we put those amendments on that ballot. We should not be amending our charter. That's number one. This is just beyond, you're stepping too far, Mayor, but, and I think the city attorney stepped too far. I have problems with this because this is, as Councilwoman Smith alluded to, this is an at-will state. The law is very clear in this state that absent, for example, a union contract, which provides other procedures, any employer can terminate any employee for any reason whatsoever. It doesn't have to be for cause. They can be terminated at any reason. Also, our charter officers have contracts. The contracts provide the terms, and they provide that the charter officers can be terminated, and if they are terminated with cause, there's no severance. If they are terminated without cause, there is severance. But these are contract provisions. There are, I believe, 3 council members sitting up here who have real estate contracts, real estate licenses. Think about it in a real estate contract. If the real estate contract says that time is of the essence and that you must make your first, you make your first deposit with the contract, you must make your second deposit within 10 days, and if you don't make the second deposit within 10 days, contract's null and void. Contract provisions control contracts. There is no question of due process. Due process should not enter into this. Respectfully, when it comes to an at-will employee, there is no due process. And so you're mixing apples and oranges. This is bad law. This is a knee-jerk reaction that you all had, presumably because I made the motion. But it is bad law for future councils. I cannot help but wonder how it is that the 4 people up here who voted to terminate the prior city attorney could wait 2.5 years to think that we needed something like this. We don't. And just as a footnote, I did speak to Joe Santorino and asked him if I owed him an apology for that. I find this motion, this resolution as written, to be inherently unfair because the 7 of us can't speak to each other except from the dais. If we have to do this motion in advance and give reasons, there's nothing that precludes the charter officer from lobbying the council members. So it's an inherently unfair system that has been crafted by this. And I find it, quite frankly, amusing that the city attorney is worried about protecting the reputation, the ethics, and the professionalism of the charter officers when he has, quite frankly, reported me on multiple occasions to the Commission on Ethics and to the Public Corruption Unit for no reason whatsoever. No one is interested in me. And he sends an email last Thursday night that says, seems pretty logical to me. Of course, Councilwoman's engineering degree may give her insight that we normal folks don't have.
Councilwoman, can I just stop?
sorry.
I'm going to let you continue, but can we just stick to the,
Well,
let's
I'm
stick to
going-
the
I'm
top of
going-
the issue that we have.
I'm going back to the city attorney's concern about protecting the reputation, ethics, and professionalism of the charter officers. Where is his concern about protecting the reputation, ethics, and professionalism about
You're not
council
talking about the
members?
merits of the issue. Please, give it, you were talking about the merits or the pros and cons of the issue. Let's talk about the pros and cons of the issue.
Well, sir, then why were you allowed in the middle of presenting your argument to say you have 100% confidence in him?
That was not with respect to this.
Okay. This is a bad resolution. I'm urging you folks to take a deep breath, take a step back, let this even sit on the shelf for 2 or 4 weeks while you think about 90 years of history in this city, and this hasn't been necessary. I'm urging you all, and I know it would have to go through the city attorney, under his opinion, to consult with Labor Council, because this truly is a labor issue, to set up that there needs to be due process for...
Not only that I consult...
Wait, one second. Hold on a second. We're going to get to that. Let me just let...
You know,
we're going to
she's
take care of it.
giving
We're going to take care of it. Hold on.
You're lying.
I'm going to get it. We're going to fix it. We're going to fix
You
it.
don't even have the floor.
We're gonna
Excuse
fix
me, Mr. Mayor.
Or do you?
Wait, shh, everyone be quiet for a second. Councilwoman Spiegel.
I thank you for another slur on my reputation. I appreciate it. I think that if this council is going to pass an ordinance like this that is going to create additional rights for charter officers that are not in our charter, we have really good labor counsel. Allen Norton and Blue is highly respected in this community. Let's ask them whether there are due process rights that should be accorded to an at-will employee who is covered by the charter. I do think that this is bad law, and I think it sets bad precedent, and I think it's going to tie the hands of future council members. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go around again. Hold on one second. Before you go, I do need to just clarify, because it sounded to me like you were making a determination of kind of like the legality of the law. That, I think, is a question that is not answered by us. It's answered by the city attorney, our legal counsel. Does this...
Wait, excuse me, Mr. Mayor, I was not making anything other than stating my position. I don't sit up here as a lawyer, but I can't change the fact that I have a bar license.
Okay,
in the
well,
States.
I understand, but let me just do it.
It's not my job. It's the city attorney's job.
Okay, but let me just ask this, Mr. Attorney, does this comport with the charter and the law and whatever else?
Yes,
Because
yes,
for the
Mr.
rest
Mayor,
of the-
and just to clear the record,
Okay.
I sent a copy of this ordinance to our labor counsel, David Miller, not Allen Norton Blue, because I have chosen not to use Allen Norton Blue.
Well, it doesn't matter. We sent it to...
And I'm the one that chooses the attorney, not Councilwoman.
Okay,
Spiegel.
wait, that doesn't matter. The bottom
And
line is
Mr.
we've
Miller-
looked at our labor
Mr.
counsel.
Miller said that it was perfectly legal, constitutional, and not against our charter, and he concurs with me that there's nothing
Okay.
wrong with this.
That's all I needed to know. I just want to make sure when we continue on our
Mr.
discussion
Mr.
that we
Mayor,
have...
Point of order, the last time we had a meeting, labor council for the unions were Allen Norton and Blue. Nothing has been sent to me to indicate that they were not our labor council. I meant no disrespect. If you don't tell me that we've terminated labor council, I don't know.
Okay, well, neither here nor there, but the bottom line is the city's legal position comes from our city attorney, and so that's what we've got to do. Okay, go ahead, Councilwoman Martel.
Okay. First of all, this is a resolution, and it's a process. It's not taking away our rights to go ahead and terminate anyone. If anything, it's giving the charter officer the ability to resign. In the city of Sunny Isles, this is the procedure that they utilize in order to terminate a city manager, a clerk, a city attorney, because they utilize this out of not to blindside the residents, not to blindside the rest of the council. It is utilized as a process to be able to let the person willingly resign from the position when they are seeing that a number of the council agree with the termination. In addition to that, I do support it because sitting on that side and watching a city manager get maliciously terminated with total disrespect and totally discredited by a council that thought that they were above everything was really disturbing to me, and I refuse to do that to any of my charter officers. Just the same way that I expect to be respected, I think they need to be respected as well, and therefore putting together something that allows them the ability to plain and simply know, well, say you want to terminate me, then I have a choice. I can just simply resign, which is how it's done in other cities. The way we've held, the way that we give people raises here, the way that we humiliate our charter officers, the way that we have to put it on this dais and the way it's done, in the past has not been, how can I put this? It's just not, humane. So I think this is a humane way of, if anyone has, just the only thing that I would change out of this resolution is that you should be allowed to turn it into the city clerk with or without, reasoning.
I think the city attorney said that there was, is that clear? Because if not,
I mean, with reason, that's better, because then everybody knows why you're coming from.
Well,
but if you don't,
okay, let me see it, because let's just ask the city attorney to clarify, because if not, that sounds like you're trying to amend the.
Yeah, I think that it would reflect your sentiment if we said stating specific reasons, if any.
right.
Does that need to be a motion to amend it, or is that?
If there's consensus that you want to write it that way, I don't know that you need a motion.
I mean, okay. Is anybody objecting to that addition of those two words, Madam Clerk? Are we okay? Okay, there. Okay, are you set, Councilwoman Martel?
Yes.
Can I go? Okay, Councilwoman Kramer. I'm gonna go here.
Something that is very glaring to me, and what I find to be, as Councilwoman Martel said, is a humane process, is the fact that what if I were to be absent that night that you all decide to terminate one of our charter officers that I want to be a part of in that decision-making process? We're a body up here. There's 7 of us, and 7 of us should be equally making that decision, not being blindsided or waiting for a night where, certain people that may favor one of our charter employees or not favor, depending on how this pendulum might be swinging that night. Or what ulterior motives are going on, which happens because I was here the night that city manager was terminated. And not only was I here, when I walked into the chambers, a former council person who was a very active resident at the time looked at me and another resident that was with me and said, "You're going to be real happy you came tonight." So it was already out there that something was going down, and I don't even want to say where I sat and where my position was at the time with the council back then. But when I saw what happened before my eyes, and I didn't even barely know you, and I watched your reaction, and the whole thing was just so troubling to no end. So I think this is a very right way to deal with our charter employees. It's the professional way to do it, because we all know that anything up here can happen, whether it's political or personal or whatever the drama is that day. It happens, and I know that I want to be here, and I respect my colleagues, whether we like each other or don't like each other. We all serve a purpose up here, and we all deserve to respect each other, at least when it comes to the people that we hired, and we should respect, if we're going to fire them as well, we should all be doing it together. So I think it's a win-win in my opinion, and I don't think it goes against our charter by any stretch.
Thank you. Councilman DiFilippo?
Thank you, Mayor. I have to concur with Councilwoman Kramer in that I feel that this is a really professional approach to going about the situation. I have full confidence in our attorney, and that's who I look to and turn to when there's a decision to be made. I did feel that the comment made from Councilwoman Spiegel had a little determination of law, and maybe that's because she's a lawyer, but then again, that's the way I perceived it, and I only take direction, and I look at my attorney, our city attorney, for guidance, and I think that this has been very well crafted, and I'm very happy with the way it's done. Thank you.
Okay. Councilwoman Smith.
Thank you. I just want to clarify, Mr. Mayor, when you tried to explain what I meant. That wasn't what I meant. So I'd be happy to explain what I meant myself.
I forgot what I said.
You said that is covered, that...
Oh, I know, I remember. Right.
That's not what I mean. Somebody could have a bitterness against the city for some crazy reason. I've been doing real estate 40 years. There are not, all the nuts aren't in the trees. Some are walking around amongst us. I just want to say that we don't know who the charter employees will be when this resolution is passed. And therefore, to change it, any one of these three charter people could say, I feel horrible, but I'm moving to North Carolina. My grandmother's sick. And we get a different charter member. We've had it. We've hired them for a week. We've hired them for a month. They didn't stay for whatever reason. I just know that somebody could be bitter, angry, and with notification. I, too, reviewed the charter, and everybody's interpretation could be a little different. The attorney has gone and gotten professional interpretation, so that's what I'll rely on. But the sole premise of this, to hear all of you sit up there and say how horrible it is when that manager was fired, which was long before you fired the former attorney. Whether it was right or wrong, I'm not here to justify any of that. But if it was so egregious then, why wasn't this brought up then? I just find this to be a steering that is not in the best interest of the residents. It is not, because we could have a charter member that would take files or do destruction with 7 days' notice. If somebody up here is on the dais by a majority being terminated, they could stand up and say, well, Mr. Mayor, I'm quitting. Right then. Nobody's stopping them. It's not a question of giving them an opportunity to resign. They could resign. But to take away what I felt was the right of the charter, but to take away the at-will, to take away something that could be destructive to the residents of the city, I don't see how it's even feasible. But that's my opinion.
Just say something in conclusion.
Hold on 1 second. Is it in addressing a point of law or something that
It's addressing a point of law in the resolution.
If it's a law, yeah, go ahead.
When the prior city attorney was terminated, and she sued the city, one of her defenses was that the city did not comply with City Code Section 2-1.2a, which requires that business to be transacted coming before the city council shall be governed by an agenda prepared by the city clerk and concluded the Friday preceding the city council meeting. So what this is doing is conforming what should have happened with the prior city attorney, and the way we defended that is by stating that the city attorney never raised it. So she waived it. So what this is saying is that not that I or anybody else here will do it, but this was one of the defenses that the city failed to comply with its own code by not putting it on the agenda before the vote took place. So
Okay.
this really takes away a defense that otherwise one of the charter officers could have if it happens without being on an agenda prior to the vote.
Okay, I understand. Thank you. Okay, let me.
I just asked, did she win on that?
Let me, no, okay, let me go around the horn again here. I think everybody's had one shot. If anybody else wants to add anything further to the discussion?
I do.
Councilwoman?
Okay, I'd like to move to amend Section 2, that the only requirement is that a member of the City Council seeking to terminate the employment of a charter officer must submit notice to the city clerk in time to be placed upon the agenda. I think for non-lawyers serving as city council members, especially if they want to terminate the city attorney, who's going to draft the motion to make sure that it is sufficient? I think it should just be sufficient to notify the clerk that you wish the item to be placed on the agenda. It would not preclude the filing of a motion by somebody, but I think we should eliminate the requirement of the filing of a motion to remove, because seriously, are we going to have such an informed, well-educated council that every single one of them is going to be competent to prepare an appropriate motion to remove? If we're talking about notice, that should be sufficient. And so I'd like to see us amend Section 2 to provide that it is only, I'll make a motion. I'm going to move that we amend Section 2 of this resolution to provide that a member of the City Council seeking to terminate the employment of a charter officer must submit to the city clerk written notice of the subject removal of that charter officer in time to be placed upon the agenda of the next meeting.
Is there a second? Okay. Before we, okay, it's moved and seconded to amend it. The language as it's written right now, as a point of information for everybody, the language as it's written right now, what would it require what does it require the person to do? What is it? It's just a letter? I mean, what exactly?
There's really no intent here to make it more difficult to terminate someone. A written notice is.
I thought it was just they said a letter and said, I want this on the agenda to move to fire or whatever.
And that's fine. And the reason you wanted 7 days is because when we discussed it.
Well, that's a separate issue, but the issue, I think what Councilman Spiegel is bringing up is, what form does this motion that's referred to, and should we change the language to make it clear that it is a simple, they could scribble on a piece of paper, Madam Clerk, I want this on the agenda for the next version or next meeting.
It could be a piece of paper, it could be email, any written notice.
But do we need to clarify it in the language, or is it acceptable the way it is?
I think that the motion that Councilwoman Spiegel made would be appropriate. A written notice
so we can
to the city clerk.
Just simple written notice to the city clerk.
To place the item on the agenda at the next meeting.
Okay, so does everybody follow what the motion to amend is? It would be to just make it a very simple language that a written notice is given to the clerk to put it on the agenda. Okay, anybody else on that? Okay. On the motion to amend that language to say, instead of a motion, that it would say a written notice asking the clerk to put it on the next council meeting agenda.
Must submit a written notice to the city clerk.
Okay, got it. Everybody got it? If you're in favor of amending it, so say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, that'll be amended.
May I ask? Then in B, C, and D, we'll change from motion to notice.
Yes.
Okay. Then the other discussion item that I wanted to bring up is council members can't speak to each other, but charter officers could, in theory, speak to each and every individual council member and could lobby and could provide disparate information to each council member. Do we want to preclude the charter officer from meeting individually with each individual council member in advance of a hearing? I see Councilwoman Martel shaking her head.
No, I don't think
Well,
I don't think that's right, because now you're taking away their rights to speak to us. So, if you're going to go ahead, if now you're going ahead and basically this is just a heads up on, hey, look, I'm not happy with this person. Then the rest of us decide, yeah, you're right. We're not happy either, or you know what, I am okay with it. And at the end we vote and we decide, but I just don't think that now we're turning into a situation where we're becoming the purchasing department where, there's a tone of silence. And I don't think this applies for a tone of silence.
Hold on one second, because I want to go in order of everybody, because otherwise we're going to get into a back and forth. If we want to do something, move it, and then we can have the debate. If not, let's stay on topic of the.
Further amend this, that upon the charter officer receiving notice that an item's being placed on the agenda, communications to one council member shall be to all council members.
Okay. Any second on that?
I'll second it for conversation.
Okay. So we'll deal with that. Okay. So you've pretty much described what you wanted to do. Anybody want to talk about that? If not, I can tell you, I would not amend it that way, because now we are overcomplicating what really is a simple matter in essence. First of all, how do you police that? I mean, just. Dear Lord, that really takes something like this and turns it into something unworkable and too complicated. So I would go against that. I just don't see how something like that would work. And when we get back to the main motion, I have one more shot that I want to be able to explain, but I'll deal with it at that time. I would go against that because it's just unworkable in my opinion. Anyone else on the motion? Yes, Councilwoman Smith.
I would go against that as well. I just made the second so that you could have
an
opportunity.
Got it.
But in reference to that, and that maybe this has...
The motion? The amendment?
Yes,
okay.
The amendment that they can't talk or they can talk. How is it going to work if the charter question of only meeting 11 times a year, how would that apply for this? In other words, it's a 7-day notice, but let's say we're not meeting for 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
Well, let me get a. It seems to me that provision hasn't passed yet. So I guess maybe we should just. I mean, it's not an issue. It's not an issue right now. Remember, this is just a resolution. Anyway, but.
Resolution can be amended any night that 4 of you decide that you don't want to follow this practice anymore. That's why it's not being submitted as an ordinance. In most other cities, when this is considered, it's done by ordinance. A resolution, next week you want to change your mind, you change your mind.
Okay, wait a second. How did we get on? We haven't dealt with the amendment yet. Let's deal with the amendment. We have a motion to amend on the table, which the motion to amend was to amend it. Right. Like in other words, like creating sort of a cone in silence.
No, that
any communication with one is communication with
all. It was
all.
not to lobby, but any communication by the charter officer to a council member has to be shared with all council.
Thank you for clarifying. So, but would that be written and verbal communications? I mean, any communications. I'm assuming is what you're saying, right? Okay. All right. We've got to, let's deal with the motion to amend. The motion to amend it to create that requirement that any communications, if a motion is filed, a notice is filed under this, that the charter officer would be required that any discussion they have with one council person, they would have to have it with all council people. If you're in favor of amending it that way, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I got 3. What is that? 3? Okay. If you are against, say no. No. Can I just see a show of hands? Who's the ayes here? Okay, and the noes. So it's 5. Okay, got it. 5-2. Okay, the amendment fails.
I'm done.
Okay, who was next? Councilwoman Martel. Now you can go. Or do you?
Well, I'm done.
You're done. Okay.
I'm hoping we'll call a
Councilwoman
question.
Kramer. Do you anything else? No. Councilman DiFilippo? No. Okay. The only thing I would just add real quick is to address the comments that were made is, remember, This is a resolution, which is merely a statement of policy of this council. These 7 people that are here. If after an election or in the future any council decides that they don't want to do this, then they can change it. I just think, again, that this is an issue. I'm not looking back to what happened 2 years ago or 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Whatever happened in the past happened in the past. If we look forward, I look back at what happened in the past, and you know what? We would have been better off doing things under this system. This is a good government policy. It is to try to make sure that you balance the needs so that, because charter officer turnover is very disruptive and very expensive for the city. So we need to have a better way to do it. That's why I proposed this. Anyway, obviously I proposed it. I'm in favor. Anyway, let's we've got the main motion to approve resolution. This is just a simple voice vote.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I want to make sure that we get it right.
Okay.
The 7-day prior notice, is that in or out?
That's in. That's in.
My amendment was provide notice in time to be on the agenda.
Okay.
Because we're not going to know. I mean, think about it. We're not going to know if it approves that
okay.
the agenda will be done 7 days, or it might be done 2 weeks in advance of a monthly meeting.
Okay. I hear you, but I didn't understand it that way. That's not the way I read it. So I would have voted against. So we should unwind that and let's go back to discuss that particular item.
How can you unwind?
Well, the way I read the motion to amend was that we were amending it to simply change motion, which sounds complicated, to written notice, which is not complicated. Then that's the basis. That's what that's how I read.
And I did it in time to be placed upon the agenda, because if the agenda is done 10 days in advance of a monthly meeting, then you've just kind of created a ambiguity. Whereas if it's just done in time to be on the agenda, there's notice.
Let's open. Well, Madam Clerk,
Yeah.
Mr. Attorney, what should we do?
I would like for you to consider to go with what Councilwoman Spiegel says, and that's only because there's a portion of our charter code that states any person having business to come before this council should have it done to my office by that Friday before the agenda goes out. So to keep it consistent across the board, Friday before the agenda
you're suggesting
goes out,
as our clerk that it makes sense to do it that way.
It makes sense to have the notice to my office by that Friday 5 p.m. when the agenda the agenda has to be out and published to you by 5 p.m. that Friday.
I appreciate your input on it. I just want to make sure that because the way it was read, that we read it the right way and deal with it.
Right.
So
but that would keep it consistent with what the charter code.
How about we just make this real simple? If you just move it that 7-day provision is, then we'll just deal with it that way. And we've heard from our clerk. If that's the case, then that's what works for her. I'm in favor of it. Can we do that? That way we don't have to unwind?
Anybody could do that. I thought it was already included. It was.
Well, but the way I read it, okay, I tell you what. Is anyone, how about this? Is everybody okay with the understanding that the motion was written notice in time for the agenda and removing the 7-day?
Yes.
All right, good.
Okay,
All right.
there we go. Are we good? Yeah. Very good. Now, let's vote on the actual resolution. Voting on the resolution, if you're in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, say no.
No.
Can I have a show of hands to be safe? Ayes? 1, 2, 3. Is that a hand up? 4. Okay. And noes? Okay. 4-3. Okay. The resolution passes.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to put the resolution to test. Madam Clerk, this is my formal notice to terminate the city attorney without cause at the very next council meeting. Please place such item on the next council agenda. Vice Mayor Franz Pierre, September 20, 2016.
Well, The only thing is it in effect until I sign it, or is it in effect now? I mean, I guess whatever. Okay.
In effect, you voted.
Let's go. Okay, all set. Let's go to the council reports, please, Madam Clerk.
Councilman DeFilippo.
Good evening, and those that were here with us, I thank you for coming out. Those that are watching us from home, we're working very hard. We got great things happening in our city. We have our 90th birthday celebration coming up soon. And to all those who reached out to me while I was sick, I thank you. And I look forward to a speedy recovery and being able to answer all your calls and get out there and enjoy the great celebration we're going to be having. Thank you, and have a wonderful night.
Councilwoman Kramer.
Good evening, everybody. I would like to report that we have a beautification committee meeting tomorrow night, Wednesday, September 21st at 5:30. I also want to say thank you very much to the Parks and Recreation, to staff that helped in bringing Tony Zucar and his Mixtura band to our Hispanic Heritage event Saturday evening. I appreciate the committee, the work that they are doing. I also appreciate very much my colleagues, Councilwoman Smith, Councilwoman Martell, and the mayor for joining us that evening to support this endeavor to bring multicultural events into our city and to embrace our diversity and experience other people's cultures. I think we had a super night, and it really was a fun time, and God knows Ketley knows how to dance with a 91-year-old. And I want to wish everyone who's going to be celebrating Rosh Hashanah, happy Rosh Hashanah coming up, October the 3rd. First night is the day after our fabulous anniversary, 90 years, the city. We're very excited to celebrate this great day with you. Or is it a birthday? Is it an anniversary or birthday? Anniversary. Can't wait to celebrate. Please bring your friends out. We're going to have a really good time. We haven't had an event like this in as long as I can remember, even as a child. So I'm very excited that we're finally recognizing this great city where we came from 90 years ago. So I look forward to seeing everyone then. Have a great night.
Councilwoman Martell.
Good night.
Vice Mayor Pierre.
Good evening, everyone. First and foremost, let me tell you, if you haven't been to the library recently, you're missing a lot. Don't take my word for it. Just swing by any day, any time. We open 7 days a week. And also, I would like to inform everyone there will be a citizenship drive / voter registration drive next Friday, October 30th. More detail will be coming, and you can contact the city clerk office or the city manager's office for more detail. September 30th.
Yes.
Thank you. And other than that, good night. Remember, I love you.
Councilwoman Smith.
Thank you very much. First off, I did survive 3 weeks with my 2-year-old, 4-year-old, and 7-year-old grandchild in Atlanta, so I'm back. I want to apologize. This is a very important message, and I hope the audience that's out there listening, and I hope the people that came tonight and staff will give me an opportunity to say this clearly. I want to apologize to the residents, the staff, and my colleagues for not having the stamina to stay for the August 28th special meeting and to vote. I had asked tonight to be recognized, and when I wasn't, I think this is important enough for me to give it on good and plenty. I have lived in this city for 45 years. I've been a successful businesswoman for 40. I've married to an honest, hardworking man for 50 years, and I am 70 years old. There is a lot of benefit that my knowledge and experiences will add for this city to grow and to be a better place to live, work, and play. I believe my role as an elected official is to study information needed to make the best decisions for the residents, businesses, and employees of North Miami Beach. The reason there are 7 seats to vote is so that each person can independently come to a conclusion that they believe will achieve this goal. I may not be as articulate as some of the people sitting up here, but I do follow the rules. Due to the Florida Sunshine Law, there is no previous discussion among us. Yet many times one of us has discovered something that when shared at a council meeting may benefit others in their votes. I know I personally have changed my vote in reference to the school that is coming before us because I was given information by one of the council people. And sometimes things just need to be put on the record. This special meeting was called about insurance. I was greatly concerned as to why a special meeting was necessary. Insurance enrollment has always had to be done before October 1st in the almost 10 years that I have been here. It's never changed. The fact that it has been said over and over that we have to pay top dollar for directors of departments to obtain top performance and top professionals. I felt that my questions and concerns and the responses need to go on the record in perpetuity. The HR director, who was employed by this city for over 11 months, said herself that the insurance for employees that we currently had was the most complaints she received. Why then, at the very least, wasn't an alternative looked at by human resource under the direction of this director? And her words were, this came about at the 11th hour. Why? If an insurance company that would service our employees nationwide was the goal, why didn't the HR director, under her department, research which companies apply and get quotes months ago? This council voted not to use an insurance brokerage firm, and yet here we are, back again using a brokerage firm. This goes under the budget. This is another $50,000 that our residents pay in taxes. Yes, to me, these were necessary insurance questions for how our residents' dollars were being spent and the benefit the employees were getting. This may really come to a larger issue than just what I am stating, as this is now being investigated for some alleged allegations. This line of transparency from my elected position was, as usual, shut down by the chair and backed up by the fellow council members rolling their eyes, speaking under their breath, and carrying on in a bullying manner that I have endured for too long. Month after month, this continues. This may not be caught on camera, nor known to the public, but is very unpleasant, hostile environment up here. Listen, I reached my breaking point. I want to say it very clearly. I've been here 10 years come May. What a sad day it is to hate to have to come to the city when I have enjoyed so much and our city is moving forward in such a fabulous direction. Listen, twice in 1 week to be told, and if you listen to the meetings by the chair, that what I could and couldn't be done when it clearly applied to the topic was more than I was willing to take. I was elected to take care of the public, but I am human too. So I actually became physically ill. I called, the clerk called, she said, go home. It's okay. I went home, and my husband said, you have to go back. Shaking, I got in the car. I tried to call the clerk, tell him on my way back, she didn't pick up. Tried to call the manager, On my way back, she didn't pick up. I couldn't drive. I pulled over the side of the road to call my husband. Come get me, take me to City Hall. He said, come home. Councilman DeFilippo's coming in. To that, I thank you. I didn't have his number. I called the city to be sure to thank him. My duties have never been abandoned. In fact, if you ask residents and staff which council person has been the most involved with city functions and residents' events outside of the council meeting, I am positive I would get a vast number of those votes. My goal is to continue putting the residents' needs before mine. And I will continue, in spite of the bullying and childish behavior, with a lack of respect that I heard tonight, how we must respect each other, and I wasn't even given a chance to have a point of order. So I will tell you that this, whatever goes on here, I'm 70 years old, I've never experienced it before, I'm not sure why we have to have this demeanor in this city. I don't know. I don't know why people that are so blessed in their home and in their life want to treat other people less than themselves. I don't know why they want to diminish somebody's candle to make theirs burn brighter. And I certainly don't know why they wouldn't have the respect for the seat that was earned by everybody else. I have listened to the tusking and the puffing and the huffing. I have watched the whispering. But each one of us has a right to the opinion that we feel is best for the residents. We have that right. I'll respect whoever else has a difference of opinion than mine. I understand. That's the way you feel. Even tonight, to say this is such a good thing, this is perfect for our city, this is the way it's done, that's his opinion. That's his opinion. And he's entitled to that opinion. I, on the other hand, looked at it completely different, and I'm entitled to that opinion. With that, I want to say to you again that to staff, to residents, to my fellow colleagues, I do apologize that it was really beyond my brink. I was preparing to leave town for the first time ever in my life for an extended period of time and have a family that I couldn't reach with their 3 children in my charge. I was very cramped for time, and yet I absolutely was determined to come to make sure the employees would have insurance. But unfortunately, it was over the top of what my system could take. And I will tell you, sitting up here, I was elected to serve, and I intend to serve. And I thank each and every one of you for listening to me. I appreciate your putting me in this position. I respect the responsibility that I have. Thank you and good night.
Councilwoman Spiegel.
Thank you. I want to say to the residents that doing a budget, and one of the charter officers said to another after the meeting concluded that we don't realize what hard work it is, and we do realize what hard work it is. But the 7 of us up here are elected to set policy, and there are just times that there are policy differences. And that's part of governing, and that's part of what happens in governing. And I met with the manager's people 3 different times, and there were just issues that I had. I recognize that it was a balanced budget. I recognize that they worked hard, but those are my issues, and there are just times that there will be no votes. I do thank the staff for all their hard work, but I also want to take a moment and I want to thank and wish good luck to Barbara Trinka, who was our finance director for several years, who throughout this budget process, even when she was no longer our finance director, fulfilled her role admirably. And I want to wish her the best of luck and continued success in her career. And I know that all of the council members join me in wishing Ms. Trinka.
No, I didn't know she wasn't here.
I think she's still here, but she's accepted another job.
She's still here, yeah. Another job with
So I want to thank her. I also want to thank Mr. Serta because he's done yeoman's work, had all the answers during the public budget hearings, and I know that he's switching positions, but I appreciate the professionalism. And so just thank you. And then my fellow council members, I find it really difficult. I took the time to go to that meeting where the residents were having a meeting and the union people were there and other organizations, and they were talking about the water plant and this RFQ. And from that meeting, I sent a simple question to our manager, a heads up to our manager, and a question that was raised at that meeting. I appreciated the in-depth response that I got from the manager, from Director Thompson through the manager. I thought that that was informative. My fellow council members, how can you receive an email back from the city attorney that says, quote, seems pretty logical to me. Of course, Councilwoman's engineering degree may give her insight that we normal folks don't have, unquote, and find that to be acceptable. I wasn't doing anything other than passing along a question that had come up, and there was a resident standing in front of me asking that question. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, I'm so glad that you have 100% confidence, but that is just the latest in a long line, and it shouldn't be happening. I deserve the same respect as the other 6 of us sitting up here, and I deserve some support from my fellow council members. I have asked the manager, I don't know why the manager chose during the budget season to send group emails with my questions and not with anybody else's questions, and we've talked about that. Given the reaction that we got from the city attorney, I've asked her once again to please not send group emails responding to my questions, because I don't know what the motivation is, but I find it hurtful. And so I would ask a little bit of support from my fellow council members in setting a level of decorum that we're entitled to expect. Having said that, because now that it appears that that's the appropriate time now in our council reports to discuss that, it's hurtful to me. There are lots of times that I won't come to City Hall because it is so hurtful to me to have to walk in here. And whatever. Okay. To those of you who are Jewish, Lashana Tova, I wish you a healthy, happy, sweet new year. We're trying to figure out, I may or may not be here for the next council meeting, or I may be late. I think that the next council meeting is the second day of Rosh Hashanah.
Last day.
Pardon me?
Yeah, last day.
It's the last day of Rosh Hashanah. Yeah. So Rosh Hashanah ends at sundown.
7:03, the meeting's scheduled for 7:30, if that matters.
Well, for those of us who are with family,
Yeah.
and it may just be that I won't be here or I won't be here timely. If that happens, I apologize, but it's one of the holiest days in the Jewish religion, so for that, I'm just going to apologize in advance if I'm late or not here. And with that, good night.
Next meeting?
Mayor Valle?
Okay. First of all, to everyone to everyone who's celebrating happy Rosh Hashanah, Councilwoman Kramer and all of the Multicultural Committee and all of the members of the staff who worked so hard with that Tony Sukar Mixtura band. I got to tell you something. That was fantastic. Now, you know what? It would be great if there was some area for people to dance for that kind of event, because boy, oh boy, they were really good. I'm happy to report that thank you to the community and everybody out there, because the Spanish Monastery Gala is completely sold out, so obviously people responded. That's great. I feel like I've got to say a couple of things because I want to address, Councilwoman Smith. I think that running the meeting, I've tried to be a gentleman, and I've tried to give as much leeway as possible for comments. But I hope you understand that I have to, as chair, I have to balance the needs of all the council people. And for one person to, if somebody is going off topic of the issue, then it is my duty to have to actually, call that to the person's attention, bring them back onto topic. So, you referenced the meeting in August. I wasn't taking the floor from you. What I was saying was we need to get back on the topic, which was the topic of the insurance.
Insurance was the topic.
Right, but you were talking about
insurance
special meetings, and why do we have to have all these special meetings?
I labeled it special meetings, but
okay,
we were talking about insurance.
That was not the topic we were discussing, and there's a way to deal with that. The bottom line is, I'm merely the referee up here. The ones who call, really the body controls what happens. At any time, if you feel that I've done something wrong or I'm not applying the rules properly, anyone can raise a point of order and the question goes to the body. The council has the final say-so. So the right solution in that kind of situation, if you don't like it, is not to stand up and storm out and say, well, if you don't want to hear about me, what I have to say, then I will leave. That is not the right solution. The right solution is to raise a point of order. And to appeal the decision, you can appeal the decision of the chair if you don't like it. That was the right solution. But I hope you understand that I have to balance and try to keep 7 different personalities on track, 7 different personalities. Some people get their questions, take care of asking their questions before and come prepared to a meeting, and sometimes they don't like it when somebody takes and monopolizes an hour out of time and I'm not reining them in and getting them back on track. So what I will tell you is that I will be very, very firm with the gavel for everybody and fair across the board, which is what I have always tried to do. And just the other comment that was made about differences of opinion. We've said that a million times up here. There are 7 people here. There is nothing wrong with people disagreeing over matters of policy because we do look at things differently. But I will tell you that you may have a difference of opinion on policy, but you cannot have and you cannot be coming with a difference of fact. The fact that we deal with here on the council is what our staff input is and what is our legal input from our city attorney. Those are the facts that we are supposed to deal with. So, when people say, oh, well, I'm going to have a different, you can't couch or cloak a difference of fact as trying to call it a difference of opinion. Okay? So that's important. But as far as policy differences, we will all have that. And with respect to comments that were made about hostile environment, I want to tell all of you guys that are here and everyone who's listening, this mayor has written a memo twice in my 5 years here, going back to 2012, memos to this council specifically talking about the way and the demeanor in which some people on the council address staff members that come to this podium. You can look that memo up. That memo was very, very specific at trying to make it into an environment that was more supportive of the kind of solution-oriented culture that we were trying to unleash here. And we have finally unleashed that. We've got employees that are coming up. They're being innovative. They're taking risks. They're doing incredible work, and the progress is out there. That I am aware of, none of the seven of us here has said that the results that are out there for the city that turned in right now are nothing short of outstanding. If I'm wrong, say so right now. Because, I think that's what I've heard from everybody. Are you saying that you disagree with that? Okay, just say it. You disagree.
I disagree.
Okay, you disagree. Note it for the
Couple
record.
areas.
Then you disagree. But this is the whole reason why good policy, good leadership, and good governance does not crush the employees, does not mistreat the staff people. And that was a problem that was happening from this dais. Go back and look at my memos. They go back to 2012. And so I will be unapologetic in standing up for what's right and making sure that the people, that what we're trying to do is done correctly, and that we not smash and mistreat these employees and these directors and this administration and everybody else. So, I hope that after we've had this conversation, and in November, I believe we're having another sit-down strategic refresh to look at our goals for the next year and what have you. Listen, I hope that we don't have to have this conversation anymore. I will tell you that I will bend over backwards to make sure that we are following our parliamentary rules to a T so that every member's rights here are respected. But remember, those rights go both ways. And so that is my pledge to everybody here, and we will hope that we will have much more efficient, quicker, and much more pleasant meetings going forward. So thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn? Second. All in favor? Aye, we're adjourned. Thank you.